Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Trey Williams. I'm going to the first grade. Welcome to day 15 of our virtual reading fair. We've been reading and learning during our 30 reading sections.
Very
And
good.
This is the book I'm
Thank you for that welcome. I'm Meredith McGee over here in Jackson, Mississippi.
All right, Mary Hardy.
Staff of Greenville.
Mary Hardy, Greenville.
William Trash Jackson.
Dr. Janice Neal Vincent, Madison.
Miss Mary.
Mary Harrison Coleman from Jackson.
Lynette.
Oh, I did mine. Lynette Staff of Greenville.
Okay, you last, Harry.
Don't forget me. Oh wait, I'm doing it last.
No, he's gonna do last.
Okay.
My name is Robert D. Williams III. I'm going to the first grade in the trailer.
Harry. Oh, I think Harry, I was, no, you didn't.
So you.
You introduce yourself, Harry? Okay, who wants to read first?
You made us start where the I left off on the original, on the New Populist Party.
Okay. And I try to keep it to 2 pages since we got so many readers. Okay.
The New Populist Party was founded on the ideas formed in the late 1890s by the original Populist Party. At that time, farming advocates promoted an agrarian economy through political protest. On the national level, President Woodrow Wilson and Franklin D. Roosevelt enacted most of the Populist Party's demands into law. The New Deal legislation repairing our infrastructure and creating jobs were ideas from the populist movement. Going forward, our party combines durable, conservative, liberal, and moderate views that have existed since the 1960s into our framework. Mississippi Governor James K. Vardaman, who served from 1904 to 1908, was a friend of local farmers. Governor Vardaman pacified farmers by ending the lease of convicts to plantation owners and the railroad. Governor Theodore G. Bilbo, 1916 to 1920 and 1928 to 1932, was also a friend of small farmers and small businesses. Governor Bilbo enacted many of the views of the Populist Party, even though the party dissipated before the turn of the 20th century. The Populist Party formed voting blocks and influenced government from the local level all the way to D.C. In his Gettysburg Address on November 19, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln stated, government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. You see, the ideas of Abraham Lincoln are no longer significant in the two-party system. The main plank of the new populist party is restoring the concept of government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We are going to demand action. Our votes will count. We will not be overlooked.
What's the matter? Try to go on. You can't have your way all the time. Just go on. No TV. Right here. You can't have your way all the time.
Okay, was there any questions or comments about Williams, William?
I'm wondering if you could possibly elaborate on what they were talking about regarding the government of the people, by the people, and for the people?
Well, that's what we should have, although it's very seldom happened. That's what the goal should be, and that was what in the Constitution, that's what they called for. And it's very seldom actually existed as far as in practical purposes throughout our history, all that's what the framers of the Constitution intended.
Yes, I remember you said ideal.
Yeah.
In terms of what it should be.
Yeah.
And of course, where we are today, it truly is ideal to me.
Yeah.
Because it's not, yes.
It doesn't actually happen, although it's in the Constitution,
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for that. And who's reading next?
Well, I can go back in terms of dealing with Osceola McCarty.
Okay.
I can start with your question. I did some research, and what I found out was by 2014, the fund's value had gone up to $700,000. So in this fund for scholarships, the Osceola McCarty scholarships, there at USM, there have been many donors, and that as of 2014 was the amount. There were at that time 44 students who had actually received scholarships. And so that's a very promising thing to see that large number of African-American students. The scholarships are designed for the freshmen when they come in. And of course, there are criteria that they would meet as far as being disadvantaged and so forth, living there in the Hattiesburg area. So I want to deal with Osceola McCarty's book at this time. Her book is Simple Wisdom. I'm going to share with you the introduction, and perhaps next week I will deal with her words of wisdom. Sitting on the front porch eating vanilla ice cream, we talk when the traffic is not roaring by. Traffic is the only noise on this quiet porch and quiet day in a life that is no longer quiet. Osceola McCarty's life is filled with the sounds of applause and proclamations of praise. Her crystal awards cling together on her dining room table if you walk too heavily across the floor. She has grown accustomed to the roar of jet engines, the hum of tape recorders, and the lights of television cameras. But 2 years ago, Osceola McCarty says she was just a little old colored woman who walked everywhere. Nobody paid any attention to her. Nobody smiled at her. It was a life of routine and simple duty, of faith and faithfulness, of aloneness and obscurity. It had never been any different. Osceola McCarty started working and saving at a very young age. Beginning when she was 8, she spent her after-school hours washing and ironing beside her mother, grandmother, and aunt to help make ends meet. Later, when illness limited her aunt's ability to work, Osceola had to fill in earnings gap for the household. She quit school in the 6th grade and went to work full-time. She never made it back to the classroom. In the place of education, work became the great good of her life. She found beauty in its movement and pride in its provisions. She was happy to have it and gave herself over to it with abandon, sometimes staying up until 2 or 3 in the morning to finish her ironing. There was little else that captivated her. She did not desire possessions or travel. She wanted only her God, her work, and her family. Fortunately, she had all 3 in abundance. Osceola was baptized when she was 13. She remembers the event in vivid detail, dressing all in white, walking down to the pond, and being dunked under the water. Her faith in the God she chose that day has never wavered. She believes in his supreme goodness and beneficence toward humanity and receives his particular love for her with joy. She looks to Jesus as an example for behavior and trusts that because she does, she will be blessed. Her faith is as simple as the Sermon on the Mount and as difficult to practice. In her adult years, it was faith that sustained Osceola through the greatest trials of her life. The loss of her grandmother in 1944, her mother in 1964, and her aunt in 1967. Those 3 women had been her nurturers, housemates, co-workers, and confidants since her birth. Their absence left her alone in the world. But the work went on until 1994 when arthritis forced Miss McCarty to retire at age 86. Friends at Trustmark Bank, where she had deposited her monthly savings her entire working life, encouraged her to begin planning for care, should she need it, and for the management of her property after death. During those planning sessions, Osceola revealed the wild idea that had been burgeoning in her soul for many years, giving some of the money she had quietly and slowly accumulated to her church and family, but most of it to the local college, the University of Southern Mississippi. After bank officers had consulted with Miss McCarty's attorney and she had signed an irrevocable trust agreement, her gift to the school was announced in July 1995. The news shocked school officials and later the world. Osceola McCarty, washerwoman, had saved $280,000 over the course of her lifetime and had given $150,000 to a school she had never even visited. In August, Stephanie Bullock, an 18-year-old African-American Hattiesburg High School honor graduate, became the first Osceola McCarty Scholarship recipient. Miss McCarty had made sure that others would have the education she was denied. And it goes on to talk about the sites where she was starred, like CNN, like MSNBC, like NBC, BET, ABC, MTV, and it just went on from there with the honors that Miss Osceola McCarty received. When she died, she was 91 years old. She was born in 1908 and died in 1999.
How old was she?
91.
Now here she was, a low-wage earner who saved over $250,000. And
Yes,
her
it's remarkable.
scholarship educated so far 44 Black students. That is
Yes,
amazing. And it just shows you, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It's just about saving and being consistent. If she saved $10 a week, she was doing what more than most people do. And then she had such a huge impact. And that people would pass by her and barely speak. And, you know, they was treating her like she wasn't important. That's what I get. It was just the reading and her description was just so profound.
right.
I want to read it myself.
Nobody. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you.
But her goal was so profound. Her goal to give back. And she actually sacrificed herself. She could have been lavishing her money, but she gave it for a good cause. And that's the remarkable story, where humanity came in and actually embraced her with the compassion that she had shared. A woman who could not become educated herself beyond 6th grade, who never went to the USM campus, but wanted, if she could have had it, a college education. And so that's just a remarkable story. A selfless person who gave of herself.
That doesn't happen very often, that somebody without a college education given to a university and helping out people with money and everything. That doesn't happen very often.
Right?
It
That does
doesn't.
not happen.
It doesn't happen very often, but like you said, it was very thoughtful of her to have the wisdom to know that it should be done, and that if all of us would just do that, decide not that all this materialistic stuff that we think we need, we don't need it, that we would give as she did. I ordered that book and I'm going to read it this week once I get it. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow. She already ordered it.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Oh, wow. So
Well,
I'm inspired. I get to. All right. Thank y'all. We're pushing.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I was going to say, just make one other comment, that the coronavirus has really taught me so much in terms of not having to put out, like gas. I can have gas for a whole month because I'm practically not going anywhere, running to the store every once in a while when I need something. And that is mostly curbside service. Pick it up and come right back home. So that's money that is saved. And then having a habit of running to some department store to get a dress or a blouse, I don't have to do any of that. And so I can see how easy it is when a person makes up her mind that she doesn't have to go do that, you see. I don't have to have any clothes because the ones that are here, I'm not even wearing.
That's,
So it's a wonderful thing to think about the humbleness of Osceola McCarty, just a beautiful soul. Let me show you her again.
Simple
And
woman.
there's a younger picture in here of her. Let's see if I can find it.
Okay.
Jesus.
So
And
she was a young woman who was striving, but she took care of her family. Those were her circumstances.
Very good. Well, I was gonna read about 3 paragraphs on Reverend C.T. Vivian, who died at age 95. What day was it? Oh, okay. Okay, July the 17th. Yeah, thank you for that. I'm still, my heart is still thinking about this more amazing
Thank
lady.
you.
Wow. This is in the Jackson Advocates remember lest we forget section. Legendary civil rights icon Reverend C.T. Vivian dies at 95. Now, actually, I knew his name, but I never knew much about him. So I was very interested in reading and learning more about him. But anyway, the office is Stacy M. Brown and the Reverend C.T. Vivian, July 30th, 1926. Wow, he was almost about to have a birthday. The legendary civil rights activist who marched alongside Dr. Martin Luther King has died. Reverend Vivian was 95. Vivian's daughter, Denise Morse, confirmed her father's death and told Atlanta's NBC affiliate WXIA that he was one of the most wonderful men ever walked the earth. Vivian reportedly suffered a stroke earlier this year, but his family said he died of natural causes. He has always been one of the people who had the most insight, wisdom, integrity, and dedication, said former Atlanta Mayor Andrew Young, a contemporary of Vivian, who also worked alongside King. The Reverend Dr. C.T. Vivian was one of my strongest mentors in the civil rights movement. National Newspaper Publisher Associate President Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis stated, and I'll continue on with the rest of it, with some more of it in the morning, so that we can learn more about him.
okay, I want to tell after Dr. Janice that he is an alpha, and he started the Upward Bound program.
Oh, that's
Oh,
wonderful. I
wow.
never know who started the Upward Bound program.
So he did. He was the person or one of the persons to start the Upward Bound program. I read that today somewhere. But he was
Oh,
your
wonderful.
alpha brother.
Right. He was my alpha brother. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
you.
Upward Bound was at my time, when I was
Yes.
becoming college age. Wow, that's amazing that so many people in his generation and the lady you just read about was trying to do something to uplift the broader community, which I wish we had politicians that thought like this.
My
Right.
My son attended the
Yeah,
Upward
I
Bound
worked
program.
Upward Bound at Tougaloo.
My son
Sorry.
attended the Upward Bound program at Tougaloo College.
He was wonderful.
Okay. I worked there during the 80s, Upward Bound, during the summer.
Oh, you worked there? Both of y'all worked there?
Yes. But I
Oh.
never knew he was the founder.
Wow.
Never thought about founder at that particular time.
Well, what did
As a
you
very
do?
young woman.
What did you do,
Thought about it.
Janice?
I taught drama
And you, Miss
during the
Mary?
summer months.
That's my son.
Oh, your
That's-
son was in it.
Son attended there.
Oh, I see.
It
I
was
see.
the Upward Bound program.
That's your son that went to college. Went to Tougaloo?
Went to Tougaloo. Yeah, he graduated from Tougaloo.
That's right. Yeah, that's your oldest son, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
So,
Well, my son and his wife are Tougaloo.
okay. That's amazing. CT Vivian reached out and did something that went across the South. That's amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, it-
Okay. Well, I'm blessed, honored to know that. Okay. So who's reading next?
I'm not reading today, so.
Okay.
I'll read. I'll finish up my book.
That's why we got two things we got to learn about the book.
Okay. All right, Benji. We're gonna finish up reading about Benji and find out about what happened. We had two questions. Did the baby lady call the police, and did he find the earring? All right, so we left with Benji had gone into the storeroom to look in the trash to see if the earring had got swept up in the trash. And the bakery lady came in and she said, she didn't think she had left the light on. Then she said, I believe I see a little shoe with a foot in it. And she said, she told me to come from behind that barrel. And you know what I do about boys trying to steal my cakes? I call the police. That's what I do. So now we'll have to see what happened about if she called the police. I wasn't stealing your cakes, Benji said. I was looking for Granny's earring, and I'm going to find it too. It's her earring. It isn't yours. Benji's voice was shaky, but he was almost yelling. Just what is so important about that earring, the bakery lady demanded. I've lost earrings myself and never made such a fuss about it. Benji wanted more than ever to run home now, but he thought of how happy Granny would be to have her earring back, and he made himself stay. He told the bakery lady about his granddaddy and how Granny wore the earrings every Sunday. The more he talked, the easier it was to go on talking. When he finished, the bakery lady stopped frowning at him. Why didn't you say they were so special in the first place, she said. She spread a newspaper out on the floor, and together they tipped the trash barrel on his side. She made Benji put on a long white apron to protect his Sunday clothes. You go through it a little at a time, she said. Then she had to go out to wait on a customer. Benji emptied out the barrel little by little. Once he saw something shiny and thought he had found the earring, but it turned out to be a piece of aluminum foil. So there's Benji going through the trash barrel with his white apron on, because Granny told him to keep his church clothes clean. And the lady understood the value of him keeping his church clothes clean. Just when he had decided it wasn't in the barrel, there it was sparkling in his hand. He found it.
It was near the
Carefully,
barrel.
he put the dirt. Ma'am?
It was near the barrel, huh? The ring.
No, it was in the barrel. It was in the barrel.
In the barrel.
He pulled it out of the barrel. Because they swept it up with the trash. Carefully, he put the dirt and the newspaper in the barrel. He didn't want the bakery lady to say he left a mess. The bakery lady took the earring from him and wrapped it in a piece of paper. She put the paper in a bag. Now, don't you lose it on the way home, she said. The bag was too heavy for just an earring. Benji looked inside and saw a cupcake. Thank you, he said. Thanks a lot. And remember, at first he was afraid of her because she thought she was a little mean.
Mm.
Benji hurried home. Mr. Atkins was still sitting on the stoop, half asleep. Benji tiptoed up to him. "Hello, Mr. Atkins," he yelled. Mr. Atkins jumped up and burst out laughing. "Who is this?" he said. "It can't be Benji." Benji ran up all the stairs into his apartment. Where on earth have you been?" Granny said. "I was just going out to look for you." Benji said quickly, "Say, Granny, I found that old earring you thought you lost." He put the earring in her hand and told her how he found it and that he hadn't let anybody stop him from finding that earring. Granny put both earrings in her ears and looked in the mirror. She turned her head this way and that to see the earrings sparkle in the light. Then she hugged Benji. "My, I'm so proud of you. But do you know what? The earring wasn't the only thing lost today." "What else was lost?" Benji asked. "Why, just this morning," Granny said, "I had a grandson named Benji, just like you. But he was the most bashful boy. He hated to speak to anybody. Now he's gone. He absolutely disappeared. What do you think happened to him?" There's Granny trying on her earrings, happy and proud, and Benji is happy and proud that he was able to get them for his grandmother, get the other one. "I could go out and look for him," Benji said. He went to the door and opened it, turning his face away so Granny wouldn't see him laughing. "You stay here," Granny said. "You're such a good finder, you just might find him. Let's get dinner ready instead." So I would say Benji found two things. He found the earring and he found his voice. So no, she did not call the police on him. And yes, he did find the earring. The end.
All right, very good story. That was you got a jewel there, a book written in 1964 with black characters in it. That's a great story.
Great story.
Right.
And the illustration was just top of the line.
So now I'll be on the hunt. I'll be on the hunt for more books like that.
That's right. Yeah, that was a very good book. Okay, so everybody read? Harold, are you still there?
Okay, Trey's feeling better. Trey, he wants to read. He's feeling
Okay.
better.
Okay. All right. Come on, Trey.
Where's your book, baby?
It's on the other side. It's on
Okay.
the
All right.
computer.
We're working on taking turns and working with disappointments and not having your way all the time.
He's growing up.
Part 2 of it.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you all's patience.
You're welcome.
On cold days, puddles turn into ice. Cars are hard to start. We have warm drinks and wear lots of clothes. We can see our breaths in the air. We might find footprints in the snow. What do you do on cold days?
We don't know what happened. We disappeared.
We lost y'all. And that's it anyway.
Turn to the next page.
Some animals some animals sleep all winter. That's called
Hibernating.
hibernating.
Mhm.
Other animals like the cold. Some birds stay in the garden. Others fly away to warm places. Some countries are very high. Others are always
Always.
cool. And that's it. Now read the other.
Just read this last page too. This your last page.
I got this one.
This is your last page.
Some animals live where only where it's hot. Here are some of those animals. Do you know their names? And that's part one. That's part two. And we're gonna start over with this with hot. For a hot day.
Say begin.
Then,
Speak up.
then,
Speak up.
then.
Thank you. What weather do you like best, Trey? What type of weather do you like?
like winter.
Like winter. Okay. And why? Why do you like winter?
Because sometimes it snows, sometimes you get presents.
Okay. Very good. For Christmas.
He hasn't been to Detroit yet.
Okay. Okay.
I heard it.
Mommy's in here.
He had experience of a Detroit winter. He just experienced some Mississippi winter.
Oh, no, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, very good.
Very, very good.
Well, thank you for that. So I'm not sure. Harry, are you still there? Well, Trey, I think you might have to take us out of here. Oh, here we go, Harry.
Here
Harry,
he
you
is.
ready? You ready to read?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I continued. Fred follows me. Fred stays with me. When my mom and I have pizza, or when my dad and I eat peanut butter sandwiches, Fred waits for crumbs. At my mom's, I'm continuing 10 pages from at my mom's. Fred barks at the Pluto next door. At my dad's, Fred steals socks. Fred always has time to play with me. My mom is tired of all the barking. What am I going to do with this dog? She says. My dad is tired of searching for socks. What am I going to do with Fred, he says, sometimes my mom drives us to the park. On other days, my dad takes me to the lake. Fred likes to ride in the car. What am I going to do with this dog, Mom? Wait, Fred shakes Fred shakes park mud all over the seat of my mom's car. What am I going to do with this dog? My mom says. Fred shakes lake water all over the seat of my dad's pants. My dad says, what am I going to do with Fred? Fred is my friend. We walk together. We take walk. We talk together. When I'm happy, Fred is too. And when I'm sad, Fred is there. But now there's trouble. My mom is mad. The neighbor's Pluto bark at Fred all the time. My dad is mad. Fred has eaten all his socks. Fred can't stay with me, says Mom. Fred can't stay with me, says Dad. Excuse me, I say. Fred doesn't stay with either of you. Fred stays with me. Excuse me, I say. Fred doesn't stay with either of you. Fred stays with me. My mom, I come up with a plan. We help Fred make friends with the poodle next door. My dad and come up. My dad and I come up. My mom and I come up with a plan. We help Fred make friends with the poodle next door. My dad and I come up with a plan. We buy Fred a new chew toy and make sure all the socks are put away. Sometimes I live with my mom, sometimes I live with my dad, but Fred stays with me. The end.
Very good. Can you show us a picture of Fred?
Yes, ma'am. This is Fred and his chew toy. And this is Fred and Pluto.
Hold it up. I can't see it.
Yes, see.
Oh, I see now.
Okay, okay.
Oh, Trey, do you see it? Do you have any questions to ask him about his book?
Yeah, so there's two. So did y'all know I got a new puppy?
No, she was talking about the book. Ask a question about the book.
We'll close the
Do you
book
have a question
out
about the book?
and give us a summary of the book.
Okay. So the story starts off with a girl that says sometimes she lives with her mom, sometimes she lives with her dad.
Yeah, could you close the
My
book?
dog Fred stays with me. That's what the story says.
Okay.
She said she has the same friend. She goes to the same school.
But her parents are divorced.
Yes, ma'am. Fred's
And
on the floor. That's what she said.
where does
She
the
has a,
dog? Is the dog at her mother's house or at her father's house?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, all right.
I guess it goes both.
Yeah.
Fred sleeps on the floor. She sleeps on a bunk bed and a normal bed. She has 2 rooms. So should I do a summary about the whole book?
Yes.
And Fred waits, and in the story, it says Fred waits for crumbs when she and her mom are eating pizza, and when her and her dad are eating peanut butter sandwiches. Fred barks at the poodle next door and steals Dad's socks. But Fred always has time to play with me. Fred drives in Mom's car to go to the to the park. Fred takes park mud all in Mom's car. Fred shakes lake water all on Dad's pants. And then they sing. And then the mom and dad says, What am I going to do with Fred? And then she says, excuse me, Fred stays with me.
Okay, well, very good. So, you ready to take us out of here?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining this Zoom. I hope you can join tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
All right. See you
Well
later.
done.
Thank you,
Yeah,
gentlemen,
well
for
done.
reading. Thank you all.
Bye.
All right. See you
Have
guys
a good
later.
day.
See you tomorrow.
All right.
Y'all have a good day.
Okay, you too. All right. All right. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.